Yeah. It's been a long time coming. It's been a long, long time. Yeah. This is how. Getting down. Yeah.
Welcome to Sports and Touring. You join me and my son Damani with my friend Dan, who you will remember owns a Formula One car. The last time you saw the car was in storage. Obviously we got to have a really good look over it, but there were a few things that needed to be done to the car. One was the wheels, which we'll talk a bit more about in a moment. Another was the steering wheel was missing. And there's quite a few things that go into getting a car like this ready to go on track. You're actually racing this car.
Yes, I am.
And when we say race, Dan will be driving his car in the historic F1 car demo laps at the 2024 British Grand Prix at Silverstone. Drivers will be free to drive at race speeds, and to do that, the car needs to be race ready. And that's why we're here at TDF, where that journey begins. TDF restore and run privately owned F1 cars, among many other things, and they will be ensuring that Dan's 2001 BAR Honda is race ready.
Before we go and look at the car, Dan actually has to go and do an interview with Top Gear magazine, right?
That is correct. Super excited.
Dan actually has his parents here and they look very proud. So we're going to let Dan go while Damani and I go and take a look at all the toys in the next room.
Follow me.
Oh my God, I feel like I'm in heaven. You must feel like you're in heaven. This is just Formula One history sitting all around this room. Now we'll come back to this car. This is very, very, very interesting. This of course is Dan's car, and we'll come back to that in a minute because we've got to catch up with Dan and update you about all the cool stuff that's happened to this car since you last saw it on the channel. And if you haven't seen that video, make sure you check it out. But behind us here, we have a number of very, very interesting cars. This one here is a 1999 BAR Honda, I believe. I don't know what engine it's running because generally speaking, when people buy F1 cars, they don't necessarily come with the actual engine, but either way, it looks pretty awesome. This looks like it was Jacques Villeneuve's car. Over here, we have a Jordan. I believe that's a 1995 Jordan. Now, all of these are privately owned F1 cars, each one being restored, rebuilt to spec in order that these customers can actually drive them. These are not showpieces. These are cars to be driven. Here we've got a 2004 BAR Honda. Now, of course, that's Dan's car. That was an 01 car. This is an 04 car. I'm not sure which engine this is running, but the engine in this Williams here is a Judd V10. These engines are insane. Now, the idea of running a Judd is that whilst it's still quite a complex engine, it actually isn't too challenging to run by comparison to your typical F1 car. And this is a Minardi with a Zetec R V10 Ford engine. It's just incredible. It's just like a motorsport engineer's heaven, seeing all these different engines and all the aero. I kind of, when I walked in here, I was blown away. I don't know about you.
Yeah, it's mega. Pretty speechless, to be honest. There's a lot to look at, a lot of really cool stuff. Really cool the way that they're doing their own bespoke program here as well, with their own engines, with a warranty. But yeah, just to think that me and my mates, we've got like nice little bangers as track cars. I don't have a track car yet, but people on this level where it's like their own personal track car, probably one of their own personal track cars, is an F1 car.
One of the things Damani was saying was how incredible modern wings are on the front of an F1 car, how complicated they are by comparison to the older wings. Essentially like a couple of flat panels, whereas this is this very intricate design. And this particular wing here for the TDF One, which is a former Formula One car with its own unique engine. Now, the TDF One is a car that is built bespoke for customers, but it comes as a package. What's interesting is this engine here is a 4-cylinder, 1.9 litre turbocharged engine producing 600 horsepower. 600 horsepower. out of such a tiny compact unit. It's built with this particular engine because they want reliability, and on top of that, they want it to be easy to run the car. Dan's car takes about 5 engineers to just get the car started, and he needs about at least 5 people at a track on any given track day, whereas this can be run with 1 mechanic. And what's special about this engine is...
Comes with a warranty, 3,000 kilometers. Now that doesn't sound like a lot for a road car, road driving, but these cars don't get driven that much, and when they do, it's not going to be for an extended period of time. If you think about it, a lap of Silverstone GP is around 6 kilometers, so that's like 500 laps of Silverstone that you can do like without any worries because it's got a warranty, and that's around like 10 Grand Prix worth of driving, so it's pretty mega.
Unlikely that anyone would do that on a track day, and you can put your guess in the comments how much these cars start at. If you had a chance to make your guess, the starting price for this is £1.25 million. But of course, the car we're really here to talk about is Dan's BAR.
One thing that I think is really cool about these older era cars, they've made a recess in the nose cone to put an actual Honda badge in there. You will never find that in modern day F1 because the aero department will go crazy. That's an extra probably half or a couple of grams on the nose, which is going to completely shift the weight balance and cost 0.002 thousandths of a second per lap. But that could be the difference between a championship or not. So, but yeah, in the old days, they used to do stuff like this, which I think is really cool and really awesome, especially if it's a collector car or racing in historics like this is. But yeah, cool to see stuff like that, which you just wouldn't see today.
And meanwhile, this is an active workshop, so you can hear machines going in the background and actually making parts live. So hopefully that's not too bad. But I mean, obviously there's 2 parts to racing. One of them is actually getting you ready for racing, because driving a Formula 1 car is no simple thing. It's not like driving a road car, is it?
No, it's not a game at all.
No.
So workout program, cardio program, neck program, don't blink program. It's 5 G's braking, 4.5 G's in corners, 3.5 forward in a straight line. It's just swallowing G's every second that you're inside.
Now, someone who knows about G's is this man. Not because he is a G, although he is a G. It's because when you were karting, those were not that much more than the G's that you were pulling in your race kart, right?
Yeah, it can be quite intensive. It will be tough. And the not blinking part, that's a tough one. There was one time I remember doing a karting race, and I don't think I blinked for the entire thing because I was perfectly fine. The second I crossed the finish line, my body relaxed. And then after about 5 seconds, my vision went blurry and my eyes were hurting because I think I just didn't blink for ages and my eyes were hurting. All the lights were like really bright. It took a solid like 15 minutes of getting out and recycling my head to be back at it. It was an odd phenomenon.
Now, Ayrton Senna always used to say that the purest form of motorsport was karting. So are you going to be doing some karting to help yourself get prepped for driving an F1 car?
Shifter karts, yeah, absolutely.
And that's the thing that a lot of people just don't understand about motorsport. Like, driving these cars at full speed is exhausting. In fact, I've never driven a car like this, but even just driving a go-kart at full speed is exhausting. You have to be really fit. I mean, Damani used to be in the gym literally like 5 days a week, 6 days a week during school holidays, and twice a day
in the holiday.
That's getting you ready. What do we need to do to get this car ready?
Rise up, no matter what's in my way. Rise up, I will do what it takes. I will keep on fighting. I'll rise through it all. Rise up.
Last time it was in storage, and they just broke it out of storage just for us to really have a look at it. But now,
Correct.
now some serious business is happening. What's going on with the car today?
So, as you can see, she's up on her stands, and we are kind of doing race prep, which is so exciting. So we plan to run a few races next year as support in historic Formula 1 races, and it's going through new crack testing, so they're going to strip her down more and more. You x-ray components to find fractures or faults in them, so when they're under G-load, that it doesn't fail when you're 150 miles an hour in a corner. The whole car actually just needs a new kind of refresh. It's been off for a few years. It's gone through shipping, making sure the computer systems are all still good. Fire suppression system is all good. They want to check the engine to make sure there's nothing that's funny that's happened there. When we did our first rollout, it was not fully, really at the perfect place where she's really happy. So we want to make her happy. So we're going to bring her through a mapping and throw it on a dyno, work out any little issues or kinks that they might have.
One of the byproducts of those issues with the mapping was some awesome flames. Unfortunately, those are going to be coming out. But one of the things that has come from this car being run in a bit, awesome coloration on the headers. The way that they've like changed color from the heat, especially in 2024, when you're going to be running this hopefully multiple times, that's going to completely change from now. Yeah. So it'd be cool to look back at this video to see the color they are now, and then at the end of 2024 to see what color they will be.
What we didn't get to see last time was this whole area behind the car exposed. You can see how intricate the suspension system is. Surprisingly complicated but simple at the same time. This inboard suspension with that spring running longitudinally along the car with the dampers, Coney dampers, obviously. Just seeing the detail, all of the different electronics and the wiring and the sensors and everything about this is phenomenal. And the fact that it is structurally a part of the car itself is phenomenal.
Rise up, no matter what's in my way. Rise up, I will do what it takes. I will keep on fighting. I'll rise through it all.
This is the piece of kit that we were missing when we sat in the car before. So super excited about all of the things that we have.
And that steering wheel actually has a story behind it, doesn't it?
Everything
has a story
behind it. It was a Jenson button steering wheel from an 07 car. We needed more functionality out of the steering wheel for everything that we did inside of the car.
One of the things that we talked about last time was the need for new wheels. So let's go and have a look at the wheels.
Yeah.
First of all, can I just make an observation here?
Sure.
Look at the size of these boxes. Obviously that wheel is very tall. That takes up almost just over half of the box. Is there two wheels in there? Literally, that's how light they are. That is just incredible.
And they're 13 inches, right? So it's proper. Everything is made to spec. So part of having the rights package and being able to even reproduce them properly, that this came off of what my BAR ran off. So this isn't just a fabricated version of, oh, let's find a rim that's 13 inches that will fit. Actually, what you can see, the rims are so detailed. So when you look down, you'll see the portions that are cut in. So all the F1 teams have different ways of attaching their rims.
If you don't have the rights to the designs, you can't actually reproduce or remanufacture any of these parts. So if, for example, you want to run that car on track, because the old rims are too old, they're not actually safe to run on track anymore. So you have to make the new rims. So he didn't just buy a shell of an F1 car, he bought the shell of the F1 car, he bought the rights package in order to remanufacture and maintain the vehicle over time, and of course then put an engine in it. But and I just got to look, one more thing about these wheels. Look, just look how wide they are. Just look at that. That's incredible. Oh, honey Jack, you can get here.
I'm going to say, don't drop them, otherwise you're going to have to buy another 12 sets, because you can't just buy one.
So yeah, that's definitely going to require me to sell your kidneys.
One more thing I wanted to go over back here that I thought was very interesting, because you've got a few more bits of your car, or more of the support items.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if we could just go over some of those, like all of the stuff that's in this box.
So this is part of the preheating system. So as everyone knows, the cars actually need to be heated from an engine perspective. So this is one of the bottles for heating. This is obviously, you could see oil. So this is like the oil pump. So it'll pump oil into the car and or scavenge it out so that there's nothing, for the most part, they sit pretty dry so that the corrosiveness doesn't eat away at things inside. There's oil in this bin. Obviously we have rims and tires and stuff like that that's around. So you can see RO003-04 test 7. test set. So these were the original rims. They just are sitting with tires on them. But this is our fun test set that we went out. The starters over here. There's lots of kit that's around.
And this is when F1 still had the old school starters where they had to plug them into the compressor, spin them up.
Correct.
Not at the push of a button anymore.
Yeah. But there's lots of great stuff that's around.
And the original grooved Bridgestone tires as well.
I have 2 different sets of Bridgestone tires. One for this car, obviously, and one for the lookalike car. So they still sit on tires that aren't manufactured anymore.
We can be the stars of our show. We can be the ones on the road. Put our names up, watch them fly.
So we just finished test fitting the wheels, and how did that go?
It went great. So super excited that our sets of rims that we produce functionally work on the car. So we'll be in racing gear with real rims.
Oh man, that's so cool. Honestly, I just can't wait. I'm so excited for you. You must be really excited.
Super excited. Can't wait.
I'm super excited as well. Devani, what did you think?
Oh, it's just awesome. And to think that it's going to be on track, not just on track, but racing.
Of course, if you've enjoyed this and you want to follow the rest of this story, make sure you hit the like button because that tells YouTube you want to see more. And of course, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you're notified about future videos. And we'll see you next time on Sports and Touring.